Hi everyone, I'm recording this on Sunday, so we're running a little behind today, but I'm excited and ready to take you through 5 frequently asked questions. I hope all of these are going to be useful, relevant, intelligent, engaging, all the other stuff. If you've got any other questions I can help with, always feel free to drop them below in the comment box, and I would love to answer them for you. All right, let's go. Question number 1, why are none of your posts being curated? All right, let's back up real quick. If you're new to these videos, you might not know what curation is. Basically, when you write on Medium, curators will look at your story and say, hey, this is really good. I want to distribute this story not only to this person's followers, but to people who follow certain topics. So for example, I can distribute it in pets, and everyone who likes pets will see this story. This can obviously have great implications for your writing on Medium because it means you're going to reach a huge audience. If you're not being curated, that kind of sucks. And what sucks even more is that sometimes they don't tell you why you're not being curated. This has led to something I learned is called Curation Jail. Now, a quick disclaimer. I started writing on Medium before there was such thing as Curation Jail. My posts have always been looked at. What I'm about to tell you comes from what other people have told me, so it's not personal experience. With that in mind, I'm going to do my best to help anyone of you who's stuck in Curation Jail. So let's go. Curation Jail, you can tell if you're in Curation Jail by looking at your stories, and if you look at the details, you'll see a little question mark next to whether or not it's been distributed or curated. And if you hover over it, it will say, curators looked at this and chose not to distribute it because it didn't meet our conditions, or it will say something along the lines of curators were not able to review the story due to high volume. And if you're in Curation Jail, you will see this notification more than once on various different stories. Check those notifications, check those little question marks next to the story details. This will tell you if you're in Curation Jail or not. If you're not in Curation Jail, full speed ahead, keep trying. You'll get there one day. Maybe soon, just keep working on improving your stories. If you are in Curation Jail, there's a few different things you can try to get out of it. So, on to our next question, how to get out of Curation Jail. There are a few things you can do. First of all, you can start over. What happens to you if you're in Curation Jail is basically Medium's like, this person has already published 5, none of them have met the guidelines, we're trying to review so many, let's just exclude this person altogether because we're going to assume that they're never going to learn how to do it right. It's kind of harsh because obviously you will learn how to do it right and you deserve to be on that curation list, but also Medium has so much to do, it's kind of understandable where they're coming from. A few ways to get around this. You can delete your entire profile and start over. This is kind of the scorched earth option. You can do this if this is like your last recourse, you have nothing else you can do and nothing else has worked, you can try that. I don't recommend it because a lot of times you'll have built up an audience already, you'll have been accepted to publications, that kind of stuff is hard to do and there's no point doing it twice if you can just figure out how to get it right once. Secondly, unlist all your stories. Again, this is not a great option because it means that you're gonna essentially stop getting traffic on all of those unlisted stories. This is because when you unlist a story, you remove it from your profile, it's not gonna show up when people search for keywords on Google, on Medium. It still belongs to you, but it's almost like in invisible or hidden mode. What I've heard is that when people do this and then they submit new stories to Medium, it's almost like they have a fresh profile. So you still have access to the publications, you still have your followers, you just kind of have like a clean slate. I haven't heard conclusive results, but I've heard some promising ones, like people have said they're at least been put back on the curation list. This doesn't guarantee curation, but it's at least might get your stories looked at, and that is worth trying. Downsides, like I said, it means that none of your old posts are going to be getting traffic while you're trying this. Upsides, you might get curated. So this is kind of an alternative to starting over and building a new profile because obviously that's not a super great option for people who have invested a lot of time into their existing profile. Give it a try and see what works. Okay, on to question 3. Question 3. Do you need to be a paying Medium member to earn money? Answer is no, you don't. Medium membership and Medium partner program are 2 different things. Medium membership means you pay $5 a month, you can read unlimited stories. Medium partner program means you sign up, you submit your tax details, your bank information, and when people read your stories, you get a portion of their membership fee. You don't have to do one to get the other. So for example, I know of several people who have written for several months on Medium without having a paying Medium membership. It's doable. You don't have to pay $5 a month. However, I really highly recommend it. Why? Because that monthly membership is going to mean that you are able to interact with writers and readers. You're going to be able to read unlimited stories. You're going to be able to start building a community of people based on being able to read and comment on as many different stories as you want. Especially in the beginning, this is going to be critical. If you're trying to get into publications, you need to be able to read these stories on those publications to figure out what they're looking for stylistically, content-wise. If you want to message a member, or like get tips from them or try to look for mentorship, it's gonna be hard if you're like, hey, I really love your stuff. I've only read 3 of your stories in the last month because I'm not a paying Medium member. And finally, if you're a paying Medium member, you pay this $5 a month, this means that people whose articles you're reading are getting a chunk of that $5 monthly membership. Your money is directly going to the pockets of authors you enjoy or engage with. Maybe I'm coming at this from a biased perspective as a writer myself, but I think that's something worth investing in. Question 4, we are flying through these today. How do you decide what publication to write for? So this question was aimed at me personally when I received it, so my answer is going to be pretty subjective, but try to take the broad bones of this when you're applying it for yourself. You all know that Medium recommends stories to you to read, and the algorithm is pretty smart. I normally enjoy most of what Medium recommends to me. So what I would recommend doing is read those articles, notice if any of them belong to any particular publications, and start seeing which publications you resonate with. And not only that, but which stories in those publications start making you think and start making you want to write. Those are going to be the publications that are a good fit for you, a good fit for your interests, for your audience's interests. That's going to be a natural fit. That is exactly how I started writing for my all-time favorite publication, Jane Austen's Wastebasket. I'll include a link below. If you haven't checked her out, she has such a weird humor that I just don't see anywhere else. And every time I read her stories, I'm just literally like cackling aloud to myself. So this is what I was doing. I was like reading her stories, laughing weirdly on my own and thinking, I would love to write something like this. So I gave it a try. I put it in the publication. And to date, all of my stories in her publication get really great engagement because it meets that kind of fun intersection of my interests, my audience interests, that publication's interests, everything meets. And that's going to happen to you when you figure out what publication is right for you. Other than that, you're going to have to do a bit of trial and error experimentation. Start writing for different publications that you've read 1 or 2 stories in and enjoy, and find out which ones have a good high engagement level for you. For me personally, I've found this to be The Ascent, the PS I Love You, Better Marketing. So you're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error and figure out what's right for you and your audience. Finally, question number 5. I wanted to end on a kind of hopeful/positive note. What can you do if you're not finding success on Medium? I was recently reminded that writing is a long game. It doesn't feel like that in Medium. It feels like you need to be curated, you need to be distributed, you need to start finding followers and fast. But I was talking to actually Shanta Grimes about this, and I was just reminded that no, writing is a long game. So I was saying to Shanta, like, I don't think Medium is going to cave anytime soon. You have time, right? You have time to figure out how to be curated, to figure out how to get into those big publications. I personally believe the owner of Medium, Ev, he's invested in Medium's long-term success. Shanta reminded me that, I don't know, she agrees with me, but it's possible that right now, Sunday morning, Ev is sitting to himself, having a bath or whatever, and he's like, you know what? I'm kind of sick of Medium. I'm just gonna pull the plug on that one. I don't know. And then she challenged me to kind of think of like, what's the worst case scenario for that? What's the worst that would happen if that happened? And I think that the worst that can happen, whether it's for me or for you or any other writer out there, is that we would take all the skills we've learned over our long or short Medium careers and move them to the next platform that came up for writing. Yes, it sucks that right now you're not being curated or that you're not making as much money as the biggest stars on Medium. And it sucks that there's not a huge amount of visibility around why, and you're trying your hardest to figure it out and nothing seems to be going right. Writing on Medium, writing successfully on Medium is a little bit of luck, a lot of skill, and plenty of patience. Writing anywhere else is no different. So if Medium went down tomorrow and you never got curated, you never got over $1 in Medium money, you know all that's going to happen is you would take all those skills, all the experience, all those lessons, all the writing that you already created, and you would put it onto the next platform. Whether you'd go back to blogging or start posting on Facebook or anything else or write your own book, writing is a long game. It's here to stay. Writing's never going to go anywhere, and that's something that we all have to remember whenever we're feeling frustrated or down or worried or nervous, is we take a step back. Writing's going to be here. Writing's here to stay, and we're going to stay right there with it. So on that hopefully positive note, have a wonderful rest of your week, and enjoy the start of the holiday season. I almost forgot to do my little self-promotional bit. If you like these videos, please subscribe, leave comments, shoot me an email, sign up to my mailing list, hit like. I don't know what else you're supposed to say on these things. You know, if you like it, you know you like it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.